All right, welcome back to the Media Marketing Podcast. Today we will be talking about imagery in your business. And what does this mean? Well, I think the famous adage is a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yes, ironic that we're doing a podcast that doesn't have any imagery in it. However, that's not the point. The point is your small business, if you're an individual like author or public speaker, imagery is very important to your personal brand as well as for your business. Just that's what people associate. That's what they see you as. And so it's very important that you're selective about the images that are representing your organization. So a little bit of an update on me, things that are going on. I'm looking at doing some classes at Portland State to continue to develop my understanding about the marketing industry and make some good connections there, maybe bring on some different guests onto the show. And I'm excited to share some of the things that I'm learning. We're getting into the fall months of the year where, honestly, in Portland, I feel like things pick up. I think people go outside, they experience, they go on adventures during the summer, and then in the fall, that's where you make your connections. That's where you talk with people. And if I sound a little funny, it's because I'm getting over a cold. But anyway, we're talking about imagery today. Cue the intro.
Thank you for checking out the Media Marketing Podcast, a place where you can learn all things media and marketing related. Don't miss a beat in boosting your business and your brand. In each episode, you'll gain valuable insights, tools, and strategies to apply to your marketing efforts. And now your host, Brian Cargill.
All right, so the first thing when it comes to selecting images or just getting your mindset in the right spot when you're thinking about the different things that are going to be representing your organization is having a mood board. And for those of you that don't know what a mood board is, this is a document that can live in the cloud, so you can drag images. It can be a Microsoft Word for those of you in the Microsoft suite. Drag images on there, just anything that you can use to share ideas or make a folder. But this is a kind of your go-to guide that you look to when making decisions about what future images that you're going to capture, as well as just get some ideas, get some things flowing of what is going to be part of your brand and what's not. So how do you add to this mood board? Well, you can go to Adobe.com. They have a good database of photos. You can go to iStock, Shutterstock, and go on there. And if you're on a tight budget, so rather than just going out and purchasing the license and the rights to use these images, you can do screen grabs. There's a couple different ways. Maybe I'll add a link in the description on how you can do screen grabs. There's a couple videos, but or you just do a quick search how to do a screen grab, and you'll find it there. Do a screen grab of what you like, and then add that to your folder, the database. Make sure do not use these, because those are copyrighted. You want to buy the license for imagery to be able to use that. And then from there, what do you do with those images? Well, you would share these with your team, get some collaboration, get some feedback. If you have the resources, you can reach out to clients and say, hey, does this resonate with you? Is this what it looks like? And you want to do all this. The more work you do on the front end, the less work you have to do on the back end, trying to scramble and make sure that things look like they're on point. So you would go to, after you have an idea of, you've solidified what kind of photos or images that you like, and work within your suite of your organization, such as, make sure that the mood is right. Is it too edgy, or are you looking for a professional vibe? Do you want to go more casual? These are the considerations to keep in mind. And then from there, how are you going to collect these images? You can either hire a photographer, you can take your own, or you can source stock images. There's pros and cons to each of those. Let's start with hiring a photographer. So what are you getting with that? Obviously, it's not the cheapest route, but you're getting someone that's a professional who has experience, who already has the equipment, and you can show them your mood board or the things that you're thinking about, or just have a conversation with them. They might have some ideas to bring to the table as well. And you schedule something out, and you have a day where you maybe take half a day off, and you just set up in a conference room if that's your brand, or you do something outside. You can have some activities that you might do that make it look as if you're actually having a presentation. You're really replicating it. So thinking about, are there going to be props? What are people going to wear? Make sure that people aren't wearing the same thing. Those are all little details to take into consideration when you're doing a shoot. So working with a photographer, their time is limited, and you're going to be paying more. The next option is doing it on your own. So I'd recommend maybe this path if you have someone at your organization, or you yourself has a passion for photography, or has done it as a hobby maybe in the past. Nowadays, everyone has a camera on their phone, so they think that they're a photographer. You're going to get your own little nuances and setbacks when it comes to doing it on your own. Maybe you want to go buy a nice camera. I know everyone's in a different situation, and so doing photos on your own could be a fun experience, could be a miserable experience, but you'd collect the photos, and for some people, maybe that's all they need is just a baseline, and then if you're very early on in your marketing efforts, just having some images is better than none, in some opinions. And as your brand develops, you want to start incorporating some higher quality and professional looking things. But in the early stages, actually, the more professional that you can look, the more people will respect your brand and your organization and want to work with you. Next, you have sourcing stock images. This is a kind of a hybrid between the two. You're not going to have those photos that have your own culture, your own people, and your own look and feel to them, but they're going to look higher quality, and they might be able to convey some of the values that you want to get across, whether that's trust or professionalism, which can be shown in a lot of different ways, which is your typical handshake if you're going for that professional, that trusted look. If you work in a specific industry, highlighting some of those shots, the iconic things that people think of when it comes to your sector, is something that you want to look for when you're sourcing those images. And to continue on that, another vein of that is you can purchase photos and then have someone on a third-party Photoshop artist, if you will, on Fiverr or Upwork, and you could put your logo or your T-shirt on one of these individuals that are in the shot, or put the branding on an object or item in that space. But be cautious here. You want to make sure you read the licenses when you're buying imagery. Make sure that you can manipulate them to a degree and that you actually do have ownership over them. Just little things like that go a long way. You don't want to have to deal with a headache down the road. There are some free resources out there. Unsplash is a great account. A lot of their stuff, I believe, if not all of it, is free for commercial and professional personal use. It's always nice to give attribution to whoever took the photo, give them the credit that they deserve, because they took the time to drive to whatever location, coordinate with individuals to capture the shot, and then they took that image or all that data, put it on their computer, edited it, and then uploaded it, put the tags. It's a lot of work that goes on the back end, so giving attribution is always a good way of paying it forward and helping that artist, photographer get well known in their space. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the steps to take when it comes to hiring these professionals or just doing it in-house. What are all the things to consider when you're collecting your imagery? So yes, the hiring process, scheduling, what to wear, organizing these images, and creating a database to be able to use for them later. We're going to dive into each of those. So hiring. The age-old adage of asking for referrals is a good way of doing it. You can go on social media today, go on Instagram, and see if there's professionals that you already like their style, or you think that they can replicate the style that you're going for. based on that mood board that you've already created. And then you can or go on a friend's website. You can do a search locally on the site called Thumbtack and find a photographer there. The other alternative is maybe more of a passive approach, and you can create a Craigslist ad and have someone reach out to you, but then again you might get spammed and you might not find the exact person you're looking for. But because of the nature of this industry of imagery, you can see exactly what someone's experience is in. You can see their style based on their portfolio. The next step here is after you've reached out to the person, right away you're going to be, whether that's through an email or a phone call or you schedule a calendar invite, you'll get an idea of what their communication style is, their personality, and you're really, beyond investing in yourself and creating this package of imagery, you're investing in the person that's taking the photos. And then comes to scheduling. So giving yourself a window of time that in the course of the next couple months, what days are going to work to take a photo, working with your staff to free up their time, or figuring out those locations, if you need to get any clearance on what locations are available, or if you need any liability, paying for just rental space. So keeping that in mind, how long are you going to be there for, and the photographer's time is precious, as well as everyone on your team. So just taking that, you want to be as prepared as possible. So having that mood board, maybe having a shot list of things that you want to accomplish on that day, and keeping in mind the whole time budget of all of that. So you're looking, I would say, in mind, if you got a really, really good deal on a photographer, maybe they're newer in the industry, maybe they decide to give you a first-time client discount, you're able to get a space, you already have an office space, maybe $500, upwards of $1,500, $3,000 for something like this. But what's nice is it's a long-term investment, so photos don't depreciate unless the quality becomes so outdated, or you have professionals that leave your organization. But having people sign documents saying, hey, you can still use my likeness even if after I'm gone, is a huge plus when it comes to being able to use your marketing materials for the long run. On that same token, though, if they're not there anymore, maybe you figure out a way to Photoshop them out, or just crop photos. So you don't want to see it happen, but it does. The other thing to consider is what to wear. So, consider your audience on the day of a shoot. Are they professional, lawyers, doctors, architects? Nowadays, ties are becoming a little bit more dated, but a suit and a blazer and a button-down shirt can be nice. Just consider what would your audience think about their perception of you based on what you're wearing. I know we're very visual people, and so what people are wearing makes an impact on the subconscious level for if you want to do business with that person. So I'd say stick to solids, pastels, no bright or confusing patterns. Those can really detract. The workaround is if you could do it in black and white, then that makes it a little less distracting. But something you consider. It's kind of interesting in the just in that same vein of black and white is making a resurgence, and it almost never goes out of style, and it has its own mood and feel to it, because it has a serious tone. I don't know, kind of the timeless nature of things. Considering logo wear, will people be wearing shirts that have the logo on it? Do you want to have props that have the logo wear on there? Those also contribute to what people see and continues to reinforce your brand and what people associate with that logo. So if it's smiling professionals, then that's what people are going to expect when they work with you. Now, next part is organize all of these assets. So you've already collected them. Your photographer if you go out of house, will maybe have a database system such as Dropbox or Google Drive, making sure that you transfer from their system all those photos onto your own. If they're really old school, they'll have an external hard drive, and that's its own set of deals. But plugging that in, transferring all the files onto whatever it is you use as a server, and then organization of that is very key, very important. To keep in mind that photos are huge files, and if you start to duplicate these, then you're creating all kinds of file storage limitations, if you will. And so what I typically do is keep my headshots and then the other photos from a pooling database separate, because obviously you just need those headshots for bios, for individual bios, for proposals, things of that nature. And then on this, in the separate file category, you'll have the photos that you can just pull from that if you want to use for brochures or websites, promotional materials, proposals. That's where you want to pull from all those other photos. Now, each organization is very unique, and so sometimes you want to break it down by department within an organization, or you break it down by sector or industry, or the services or products that you provide. Each situation is unique. So if you do have any questions or you want some consultation on that front, I'm happy to help out. I'll give my information here at the end. And then, that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's kind of I would give yourself a lot more wiggle room and a lot more time than you think this is going to take, just because imagery, you want to make sure that this is on point and that it aligns with what your brand values are. So you want to have all your photos look and seem as if they're part of the same family of images that's on brand. Make sure you match the right mood. So is it professional, casual? What kind of activities demonstrate to an audience what your organization does. I think people really associate with smiling faces. They associate with people's emotions. So having having people's faces rather than just hands or clothing, things of that nature, that doesn't resonate as closely with your audience or potential clients. So if you're in the Portland area, I'm happy to come take photos for you. If you have a travel, I can move on a budget, but happy to set up a mock shoot or do headshots or just do event photography as well. Capturing an event is a nice way to get some organic looking shots that show the classiness and show the networking of your organization. And then, feel free to reach out to me with any questions. My website, briancargill.com, or directly on my email, info@briancargill.com, info@briancargill.com. All right, that wraps it up. Go capture some great images for your business and help share the message and the look and feel and culture of your organization.